We bring in now the Commissioner of Major League Lacrosse, Sandy Brown. Sandy, thanks so much for taking the time. I know it's probably a busy day, busy time for you as you hammer everything down. I just want to start by asking, how did you get to this point? Sort of take me through these last few months.
Well, it's been quite a road, to say the least. As you can probably imagine, under the circumstances, with everything that's happening with respect to the pandemic, we've done an awful lot of modeling. And obviously, our first priority as part of this process is making sure that we ensure the safety and the health of all of our players and staff, coaches, etc. And that's really been the driving force out of this, this whole process. I have to tell you that I'm incredibly grateful to the state of Maryland, to Governor Hogan, to the United States Naval Academy for providing us this opportunity. And we've been, candidly, we as a staff have been on the phone and Zoom every day since the beginning of this year planning for this. And so we're just very thankful that we're in this position.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Annapolis. Why was that the desired location? Why did that end up being where you guys decided to do this?
Well, again, the state of Maryland was very welcoming, as you are probably aware, just given what's happening with respect to the states in this country and where Maryland is trending in terms of COVID cases and so forth. It just happened to be a very good market for us, given that scenario. But also, as you're well aware, we obviously have a team that are defending MLL champions, are based there. And Annapolis has always been a great venue for us to be able to host anything in this league for the last 20 years. And we felt it was only appropriate that was the place to be.
Obviously, this goes both ways with both yourself and the players as well, with the MLL Player Council. What were some of their main concerns in your conversations with getting them to agree to this too?
Well, they obviously wanted us to be in a situation where we're providing the proper protocols in terms of ensuring their safety. Obviously, everyone is taking a risk, whatever professional league that you're involved in terms of engaging in what we're trying to do. And we had to make sure that we vetted the opportunity for them to come such that we are taking every proper precaution in terms of testing, in terms of distancing, making sure that we had protocols if someone does become infected while they're there, so forth and so on. So we vetted this protocol with no less than probably 10 physicians, many of which are associated with a number of the other professional leagues. And I think we've got a very tight protocol. We've been able to get players comfortable in terms of what we're doing. And, again, that's really the most important thing.
You landed on a format of, 7 games in 8 days, I believe it is. How did you decide to go that direction?
Well, obviously, we knew we had a defined window to be able to execute this. Every team is going to play 5 games, and then we'll have a Final Four on the weekend of the 25th and 26th of July. We also happened to avail ourselves of the fact that ESPN had some windows available to us during that week, obviously before the Major League Baseball gets started, as well as the NBA. And that provided a very good opportunity for us to be able to showcase, all of our games. So all of our games will appear either on ESPN2 or ESPN Plus. So we're working all that out right now, but we're pretty excited about that opportunity. And, we think it's going to be a great week of lacrosse for any lacrosse fan. As you are well aware, they haven't had a lot to see this year. And what's a better opportunity to showcase the best the sport has to offer.
You mentioned the timing a little bit here. Mark Burdett in the Capital Gazette, your chief revenue officer, said, "We feel good we're beating the PLL to the punch here." When you mentioned some of the timing with the other sports as well, was that part of the discussion there in terms of placing an emphasis on that too?
The emphasis is really working with our television partner to basically provide the windows that we needed. And ESPN has been a great partner of ours, and they will obviously be a partner of ours going forward for a few years. So we're excited about that. But it really provided us, again, an opportunity to be able to get a whole slate of games in. We'll be having the first day on the 18th, we'll have 3 games. The next day we'll have 2. So there'll be multiple games during the course of the entire week, culminating in our championship game on the 26th of July.
Yeah, and we were partners to a broadcast of the Spanish Basketball League, who did something a little bit similar. They did a 2-week stint of every other day. I mean, they played 3 games a day, and then had everyone in sort of a bubble. And we talked about that with the NBA, where it's a 3-month bubble, but that was a little bit shorter, and it worked for them. Will it be a similar type of a bubble feel for the players in this arena here?
Exactly, and as part of our protocol, which as I mentioned has been done with meticulous planning. All the players will be staying in the Westin Hotel, which is very close to Navy Marine Corps Stadium. They will only be allowed to leave the hotel to go for runs or to get to the stadium. And everything will be self-contained. All their meals will be there. We'll have a hospitality area there for them that will allow them to be able to let off some steam. But we've got to really follow this protocol to the letter of the law here, and it's really, again, it's all about ensuring everybody's safety. And I think we have professional athletes that understand the responsibility that they carry, and their actions obviously not only impact themselves, but certainly impact other people's health and potential well-being, obviously. So, we're trying to make sure that we do everything we can to ensure that everybody operates in a very safe environment. And that's the name of the game here.
Yeah, you mentioned the safety part of things, and in the press release, I noticed they mentioned the Cascade face shields, so that they're in development, and we saw a tweet about it, I think, a few days ago. Can you touch on that a little bit more? Is that something optional? Is that something that's already going? What's the deal with that?
Sure. So Cascade has been a great partner of ours, and they've done a really fantastic job in terms of providing us with all of our helmets and so forth. And so we asked them to give us some ideas in terms of things that we could potentially put over the mass of our helmets from a safety perspective, and they devised something and tested it. And so we're going to give it to all the players during training camp. It's not required; it's optional. And at the end of the day, if a player feels that this works for them and it's something that's sensitive to them, they obviously will avail themselves of it. But Cascade has really been a leader in terms of being able to provide this type of face shield for the medical industry across the board. And obviously, certainly here in the lacrosse world, this is really their first opportunity to be able to get it out there and obviously, have the ability to promote it on a national stage.
Absolutely. What would you say has been the biggest challenge in putting all this together?
Well, it's like anything, any event that you put together, there are just a lot of moving parts. And we're not going to be having fans, so that eliminates something that, is obviously a big lift when it comes to putting on a sporting event. But the protocol and making sure that everyone is in line, everyone's getting tested right now. So they'll be, we'll have our results way in advance. I mean, the way we set this up is that if there are any positive tests in advance of travel, then from a player perspective, from a coach's perspective, from anybody that's going to participate in this event, then they will not travel. And we will require that everybody that is involved in this event that are on the grounds of the Navy Marine Corps Stadium will be credentialed. We'll know who they are. We'll know that they've tested negative, and that's the only way that they will gain admittance to any of our games. And we have to be very, very tight and operate with military precision in terms of us being able to execute this. And that's obviously something that's really very important to us.
Why was it so important for you to have something this summer in terms of a season? I know it. And when you first canceled things or suspended things, excuse me, you said we wanted to have something happen this summer, and now you have. Why was it so important for you guys to do this?
Well, I mean, it's our 20th anniversary season. We've been around here for a long time. We've continually, invested our time and effort and our interest in trying to provide the best that this game has to offer. And certainly in light of the fact that there was nothing to be seen in the spring from a college perspective. We certainly owed it to our fans to get out there and put a product on the field. And certainly a lot of our guys, as you know, play in the MLL, which Nick Cascade does a great job with that league. And obviously had their league cut short, their season cut short, I should say. So we have players that are just chomping at the bit to get out there. Again, I think the opportunity to be out there on a national stage. They will be playing in Maryland in the second half of July, which is not going to be insignificant in terms of the physical demands on their bodies. But they're just happy to be out there, and I think they're going to put on a great show. We've got some tremendous storylines this year, obviously with Lyle Thompson back, John Grant Jr., Michael Krause coming in as one of our top draft picks. So we really have a tremendous slate of stories that we're going to be putting out there, and again, not the least of which is the fact that we're in a wonderful location that's been very good to our game, very good to our league, and again, we're very grateful to Governor Hogan and to the Naval Academy for allowing us to be there.
And like you touched on, using it as sort of an opportunity with this window, in terms of some sports being back, some not, and this time period, like you mentioned, probably the exposure is also a key factor here.
Yes, I mean, we're always about trying to expose our game. ESPN has been the leader in television coverage in this sport for 40 years, and we're really excited about working with them again. We're going to have an all-star lineup in terms of our talent covering the games, and I think the production value is going to be off the charts. And look, we're going to do what we do. We've been doing this for 20 years. And we're excited about being able to celebrate our 20th anniversary season.
And I think you mentioned it, Sandy, earlier, that I think we all miss lacrosse more than many things here this spring. And to have it come back here pretty soon, sooner than maybe we even thought it might, is pretty cool. That's a great thing. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and looking forward to seeing everybody on the field here pretty soon, a couple weeks.
Thanks a lot for the opportunity. Appreciate it.